Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. It is Follow the Money. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. And a great way to start off this hour. What a season. 79, 44, and 3. Best bets were 12, 5, and 1. We're talking about the Circa Football Invitational every Friday night right here on VSiN. And I am talking about the winner of the contest, and that is Chuck, the Iceman Edel. He joins the program right now on the Progressive Guest Line. Congratulations, Chuck. That was one hell of a season.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, I had a good run. Things kind of bounced my way. They don't always do that, but it worked out well.
Well, yeah, I'd say. But
as Paul said in the break, 5-2, 6-1 every week.
I know. I was looking. I couldn't believe it. So I ran into Fezzik today. He had a horrible year. A lot of professionals had a horrible year. Why did you do this, Yen, when the favorites crushed it? Home dogs were atrocious. Was it a great with the college totals? What allowed you to go 5-2, 6-1 every week?
Well, the majority of the games I did play were the college football. I mean, I know a lot of the guys in the contest did play the NFL, which I was forced to do in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the contest because of the lack of college games. But I pretty much was stuck with the college football. And gravitated. They only allowed us to play 4 totals, so if you played 4 totals, then you had to put in 3 sides. So, okay. I probably escaped all that. I think a lot of that was the NFL that you're talking about.
Well, if you were allowed to play 7 college football totals, is that what your game plan would have been?
Not always, but I might have had more than 4 on weeks for sure. Yeah, that's kind of the way I was looking, but I'm sure I would have mixed some sides in, but there would have been weeks that I would have had 5 or 6 totals for sure.
Are you more proud of winning that contest or of Matt Human's nickname that he gave you, the Iceman?
That's funny, yeah. I mean, that goes back to when Doug Kazarian and Matt Yeomans were doing the radio show. They did that show here locally in Vegas where Doug went to ESPN, and they tabbed me with that nickname and kind of. For a while, they were the only ones that used it, but it kind of clicked on now, I guess.
Genuine article, Chicago guy, Cubs fan. You are the real deal. So how about tonight then? No surprise here. You're on the total. What do you think, Ohio State, Texas?
Yeah, I did play this early on. I did play the game under the total. Obviously everybody saw that explosive Ohio State offense, which they're capable of doing it again. But Texas, a much better defense than Oregon. And I think, during the season, Texas only gave up 11.6 points a game. They were the number 2 pass defense. Like if you look at each quarterback rating for each game, they were the number 2 pass defense for the season. And they're very good against the run. I think they only give up a little over 3 yards per carry. And and then you look on the other side, Ohio State's defense has been incredible. I mean, their defense, they only allow 2.7 yards per rush. Overall, their defense has been barely over 4 yards per play. So I think we're going to see, everybody's expecting to see fireworks. Texas's offense has really slowed down a bit as well against some of the better defenses. So I thought that number was a little high. It was 53. I think the total for the Oregon game was only
55?
I can't remember now. 55, 56, which if you really compare that, it's kind of you're not going to see Texas throwing the ball all the time. They like to run the ball a little bit more than they like to throw the ball. And I thought that total was a little overboard.
Okay, so you bet it under 53, and fittingly, it has moved. It's now 51.5. For the audience right now listening or watching the show right now, do you think, because 51 is a key number with totals, do you think under 51.5 is still playable?
I'm kind of hard-headed sometimes. If I like something 53 and it goes to 51.5, sometimes I have a hard time grabbing onto that number, but I definitely would still lean. I lean under the 51.5. If I was going to play it, I would still lean that way. Obviously 53 being the better number, but if you like it under 53, you probably like it under 51.5.
Now, did I hear Human say this correctly the other night? Did he say that when it was 6.5 or that was out there, did you buy Texas up to 7?
I did. Yeah, I just thought, and I didn't go crazy on the game, but listen, I mean, the line, I had the line should be before the Ohio State, everybody fell in love. Ohio State has peaked out a little bit. They looked really good the last couple of games. Well, the last one game, I say this is a Michigan game. They didn't look too good. And I thought that was a super inflated line. And it still is. I mean, it's still hanging at 6. So yeah, I did. I grabbed the Texas +7. I thought the number was too high. I mean, the game is in Texas as well. You don't hear a lot of people talking about that, but the game's in Texas, which I don't give them. But there's going to be plenty of Ohio State fans there, and it's still a different stadium, but not as much travel, obviously, for Texas. And I think the line's too high. Listen, Ohio State played an unbelievable game, and if they play that game again, I mean, they could cause some damage. But I thought the line is a tad high. I think it comes down. I think closer to game time, you're going to see it 5. That's what I would say.
What would you do with Ohio State 8.5 against the Irish?
Well, I think that that's a bad matchup for Notre Dame. I would think Notre Dame would have a lot of trouble scoring against that Ohio State defense. I don't think they have enough weapons. I mean, you're not going to be able to run the ball. They really don't throw the ball that great. They could come up with some stuff like they did last night. Their defense is good, and no question, their defense is good, and they would cause Ohio State some problems on that side of the ball. But I just think it's a bad matchup for them. I think Notre Dame would really struggle to put up points against Ohio State.
And then what if Texas kind of pulls a big upset tonight and they get Notre Dame? That number would be Longhorns look ahead here about 2.5 or 3.
Yeah, I don't have a big opinion on that, but that'd be a much closer game, no question. I think that'd be a great game. Probably should be maybe closer to pick them, but if Texas upsets Ohio State, they're going to get a lot of credit for it and see how the game goes. But that would be a coin flip. Obviously, it'd be a much lower total as well.
Let me lead you into this. Monday night, Rams and Cardinals season ticket members received the first chance to purchase tickets for Monday night's game that will now be played at Cardinal Stadium. 52,000 tickets were sold in 2 hours. 35,000 season tickets were bought by Rams season ticket holders. How do you try to handicap and get a grip of what these LA teams are facing, and if you want to fade them this week?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure exactly how the practices have gone because of the situation with the bad weather and stuff. I'm sure they're probably in Arizona now, I'm guessing. I don't even know, to be honest with you. The game is on Monday, so they do have some time to prepare. But listen, let's face it, the Rams didn't have the best home field advantage to begin with. And, half the time you watch the game, you weren't sure who was the home team. But, there is something to be said for having they didn't really adjust the line overly. What did it move? About a point when they moved. So, normally you would move 3 points, 2.5 or 3 points. So there, it's a neutral site, no question. I mean, there'll be plenty of Vikings fans travel well. There'll be plenty of Vikings fans. You'll see a lot of purple there. So it's going to be a pretty mixed. I think it would be pretty mixed fans as far as the Vikings and the Rams. I would say probably 50-50 if once it hits game time.
Well, yeah, and then you got these Arizona fans like, what the hell else am I going to do?
Sure.
It's a playoff game in my backyard. I'm going to go. I'll grab the tickets. What's your strongest bet if you have one in the 6 NFL playoff games?
I haven't done really much in the NFL for the playoffs, but I was, I'm trying to make a case for Tampa. I thought Washington down the stretch kind of didn't play quite as well. I think their defense could get lit up in the game possibly. And I think that Todd Bowles doesn't get enough credit for what he's done over there at Tampa and every year, and he'll have his team ready. So, I would probably, as of now, I have not played one NFL game. I would lean Tampa, and I did grab +6 on Green Bay just for the fact that I thought the number, I saw a number out there and I grabbed it at +6. I think Green Bay could play Philly close as well.
No total on the board that you think is worth playing right now?
I haven't. I'm still digging in a little bit, but I haven't played any totals on the. I don't play the totals on the NFL like I do with the college. So I probably play more sides in the NFL than totals, and I just the opposite in the college football. As we talked about, I play a lot more totals there.
Do you play totals in college basketball?
I do. Yeah. They'll get you dizzy in a hurry.
Well, let's get dizzy. Let's get dizzy tonight. Do you like anything on the board?
It's a small board. I played over in the second game on the schedule. I did play earlier in the day over in the Kent State Buffalo game. I see a pretty good pace in this game. But the number right now has really moved. I wouldn't recommend playing it at the 147, which it sits at now. It was. I didn't get the best number either, but I did get it opened 142, and I grabbed the 44 earlier.
Okay, very good.
Well, Great job, Chuck.
Yeah, if it comes back down, maybe we can grab it before game time there. Outstanding job this year, Chuck. Truly, that's a phenomenal run that you went on. Congratulations on winning the tournament here at Circa. I
appreciate it, guys. Great talking to you again, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Yep, sounds good.
What a record.
79, 44, and 3, 12, 5, and 1 with his best bets. 79, 44, and 3. Great question. It was a terrible year for a lot of pro bettors in the NFL. He navigated it by going with totals in college football.
3 years ago on this show, 4 years ago, he had a 20-1 run on college totals?
Yep.
He is something.
Why go away from what works?
Yeah, that's right. He's got it down. Right to the college buckets. He's awesome at college basketball.
Oh, I know he is. I had to ask that. Yeah. We will hit the AFC games up next. Every number from recent matchups is telling you to take the dog, but I am going to proceed with caution. We'll get into all three games coming up here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Our thanks to Chuck the Iceman Edel, who came on in the previous segment. He won the Circa Football Invitational here every single Friday night with Matt Humans. His overall record was 79, 44, and 3. Great conversation. 6 to what he likes. Could only go with 4 different totals, but he specializes in college football totals. And what are you seeing for somebody tweeted us here, the overall mark?
McBrentley said he went 35, 15, and 2 in college totals.
Oh, my God.
In the contest.
Oh, that'll get it done.
He is the man. That's right. Also, you are correct. That's St. Lucia. That's $5,000 a night. That hotel room we showed on
I think it's probably worth it.
Right.
Okay.
Probably, yes.
Here we go. Saturday, wildcard games, AFC games. Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers laying 3 in this game. He is 31-8 straight up, 28-9 ATS as a favorite between 3 and 7 points since 2011. D'Amico Ryan's 12-4 under the total versus teams with a winning record. Here's what, man, Ladd McConkey had a great rookie season. His prop in this game is 75.5 receiving yards. If you go back like his last, 6-7 games, the guy has been, here are some of his numbers. 95 yards, 94 yards, 87, 58. Was a low one, but $117, 83, 123. The problem, Houston is number 10 overall in DVOA against wide receiver number ones. They have a really good secondary. They only allow 66 yards to the position. Aren't you paying like a huge tax on McConkey this week because every recreational bettor wants to bet him over and drive the number up here?
Can't do it, yeah, because Houston's good against number ones, and the guy I land on is Johnston. I think that's real. What he did last week, and now that he's finally catching the ball and good to go after he was fine at practice, he's in the low 40s. I think that's the guy Herbert can be looking at. But the way he can spread it around here, and it's a tough game. And again, Houston 7-1 to the under in home games. Certainly what's going on with the Chargers in their personal life, but that's I think the one guy who could go off would be Johnston, and I would take McConkey under. You are paying a tax. I agree. I don't know what to do with the tight ends. Make the case for Schultz, maybe for Disley. I don't know, maybe Schultz to go over, but it's also game flow and how it plays out. Is it close the whole way? Is there a mistake early? Herbert doesn't turn it over, only has 3 interceptions. They're great with the they're tied for third in turnover differential. They don't beat themselves. So
you laid 2.5.
Tough. Yeah. Right? I don't like the game though.
That was before the fires.
Yes, right.
It's okay. Again,
you have to be distracted.
Of course.
Yeah.
Have to be. So if you can find, I see 3s out there everywhere. But if it goes back down to 2.5 at all, because it's not going to go to 3.5, if it comes back down to 2.5, do you want to maybe play Texans on a teaser at 8.5.
That's not bad.
And team it with another.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think of the Chargers defense? I think the numbers are absolutely phony.
I think they can be had.
Absolutely. The numbers are misleading because you got fat early on against some bad teams and bad offenses. But also it's how you play down the stretch. Not good. Gave up 40 to Tampa. Gave up 27 to Knicks. Gave up 20 last week to O'Connell. You gave up 30 to Baltimore. You gave up 27 to Cincinnati. Come on.
Here's what I will say. If they win the game, and then their next opponent's going to be KC, I'm not going to be stunned if they go to KC and win the game. They play them tight, divisional matchup. Harbaugh's awesome.
I know, come and lose.
So,
yep.
But here's the thing. So if they would win that game, and then they would have to go to Baltimore or Buffalo to play the AFC title game, that's when the defense is going to get killed. Because Josh Allen and that offense, or Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, will destroy that defense.
Yeah. Well, and also the thing I go back to, and why I guess I'm making the case for the under, is when Stroud played good teams. No good. 14 points per game.
Yeah.
Just horrendous. 13-4 ATS first half this year, by the way, with Houston, and they were an awful second half team.
Steelers are playing at the Ravens. Some numbers here again, vsin.com. Steelers 36-19 ATS, 65% as a dog since 2018. 18-9 straight up, 19-8 ATS versus teams with a better record since 2013. That's incredible. The Ravens are only 13-25 ATS as a divisional home favorite since 2010. And dogs between these two, 15-3-1 ATS last 19 games. Ravens down to 9.5. There's going to be no Zay Flowers, who had a tremendous season for this offense. Again, all the numbers here. Lamar Jackson struggled in the postseason. I get it. I said this earlier in the week. I'm sticking by my guns here. I can't get on Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
If they cover, they cover. This is either a stay away or somehow I make a bet on the Ravens.
Right. History's going to say you have to take the points here, and it's the second biggest spread with these teams going back, right? Also, Tomlin last playoff win, the 16-17 season. But this is, you want to talk about a team limping in here. My God. Third team in NFL history to enter the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak. The 99 Lions, the 1980 Jets. You haven't cracked 18 points in the last 4 either. And then, the situation with Pickens as well. If Lamar takes care of the ball, they should be able to win by margin. And I know what happened, what Gannon was talking about the first game, but they get silly things happen when they go to Pittsburgh, but they beat them by 17, and Wilson had the big turnover in the game in Baltimore. But it just figures to be a big Henry game as well. Jackson on the ground, Henry on the ground. Maybe Pittsburgh makes a mistake and they can't get much going offensively. I think I'm not going anything with Pickens because he's a head case. The last 2 games, Freiermuth, 15 catches on 17 targets.
He's the only guy I look at in the Pittsburgh
That's
offense.
the guy who's got to do something, I think, and that Russ is going to throw to him.
I think you can actually ladder Freiermuth if you'd like.
Okay.
That's the way I'm going to approach it probably. Also, I did bet Derrick Henry over 5.5 receiving yards. I laid 25 cents with that. This is the reason why they went out and got him, right? So there's no more dialing it back here at Derrick Henry. And I get it. Justice Hill can take away some receptions from him as well in the passing game. But there's no 15 carries here and no using Derrick Henry in the passing game to save him for later games. You're in the playoffs. You're going to empty the chamber from now and moving forward with this guy.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be surprised if he has 25 carries in the game. And over 5.5 yards means basically 1 catch. Throw him a screen pass, breaks 1 tackle, he gets 8 yards, bam, winning. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how I bet that.
Well, the whole thing here is about, it's one thing with the record 2-4, but it's also the turnovers with Lamar. And just weird stuff happens. They didn't play well against Houston in the game they won. They were down at halftime. And then the sleepwalking performance and the bizarre play calling against the Chiefs, 14-2, lose to Tennessee. Pittsburgh tied for first in takeaways.
Yeah.
Does he get sloppy and turn the ball over? The other thing, Alex Kemp, his crew, number 1 in calling offensive holding on the season. Baltimore is the 3rd most holding calls.
Wow.
Do they get pressure on him, and do they get flag happy in that game? That's something to look at with that crew.
Mm-hmm. All right, Broncos and Bills in on Sunday. Denver 17-6 under the total when they're coming off a double-digit win since 2017. I think that applies more to the regular season, obviously. In fact, exclusively to the regular season. But Sean Payton 35-20 under the total in that same scenario. Buffalo 38-28 ATS in non-divisional conference games since 2017. Both teams rank at or near the bottom of covering running backs in the passing game. You're seeing the number at 9 right now. If you're watching the show on the screen at Circa, plenty of books have 8.5. And this is the other leg of the teaser that I'd like to get involved with here. It would be Buffalo down to 2.5.
All right.
If you can find Houston, I know you're not supposed to tease it up to 9, but tease it up to 8.5 on a 2-team 6-point teaser. That would be my G-Bank bet of the day.
Since week 9, Bills defense 30th in success rate, 30th pass defense, last in drop back success rate. Can Knicks hurt them? I don't know. Rookie quarterbacks last 7 have lost 7 in a row on the playoffs. Wilson, the last guy to do it in 2012. Mm-hmm. Can Denver do something? The one guy I would ladder and look at is Mims. You got to take. He's a big play guy. He might not have a lot of catches, but he's a guy who can have a 60-yard catch.
Yeah.
He could do that. But other than that, it's, again, we know it's well documented. 1-7 against teams above 500. You throw out the scrimmage Sunday.
Sure. I have no idea which running backs to look at for Denver because Peyton changes his mind every single week the way it seems. Sutton also had a great year, but his prop is going to be much higher than a guy like Mims. And to your point, they throw one bomb to Mims, 48 yards, bam, he's going to go over a lot of stuff right there.
And Gannon, the advice he gave out earlier, Gannon said to Daniels and Knicks, take care of the ball.
Yeah.
Bills second in takeaways. Bills number 1 in turnover differential. Best Bets brought to you by G-Bank, official bank of VSiN. If you're serious about sports betting, you need the G-Bank Visa signature card. Most credit card street sports books and gaming transactions as cash advances even when you put your own money on the card. G-Bank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're typically saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees right there. For limited time, get a $250 bonus after you spend $1,000 in the first 90 days. Apply now, vsin.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply.
By the way, sportsbooks have taken the award down after today.
Oh, boy.
But I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson won the MVP.
I know.
He was voted first team All-Pro.
Plus 350 earlier this week.
He was.
Yep.
And I think last year, 30 of the 50 people who voted for the All-Pro team also had a vote for awards. So there was one offshore book, I think, that after this news came out today, took it down and reopened Jackson, I think, minus 260 to win. They're not. If these people are not going to vote Lamar Jackson first team All-Pro and then give Allen MVP, right?
Concur.
So.
Yep. Little concern now?
Fake markets.
That's right. And Mike Florio and Barnwell gave Burrow comeback player of the year.
Yep.
Who knows?
Up next, we will discuss the Monday night game, also the game tomorrow. Both L.A. teams. Arash Markazi has been all over the fires in Southern California. He's close to the teams in L.A. How are they handling this emotionally?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More NFL here. We will discuss the two teams based in Los Angeles. Arash Markazi joins the program here. He is founder and CEO of the Sporting Tribune, and he has been a must-follow on social media this week with the ongoing fires in Southern California. Arash, thanks for the time today. How you holding up?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it's been a tough week so far here.
Well, you've been there for obviously several years. When you saw the images of what was coming out of that area and some of the photos that you took, and you were talking about what burned down, I mean, how devastated is that?
It's surreal. You know, we've had a lot of pretty major wildfires in Los Angeles, but this is obviously just in scale, in scope, and the really institutional locations that it took down. I mean, you go down the list of places that people have probably been to if they've come out to Los Angeles, whether it's Moon Shadows or the, wine bar. Basically, the entirety of the Pacific Coast Highway is gone. The homes there, the cafes, the restaurants. It's just so sad. And so it's going to take years and years and years for us to recover from this. Again, we've never seen anything like it. It was really sad on Tuesday seeing the fires. And the one thing that was different this time is that there was no support. There was no water. There was no firefighters. There was nothing. It was just, and so it continued for basically a day before they finally began to control it. But even the Palisades fire, guys, I mean, that's at 9% containment now. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah. And the perfect storm, too. 80 to 100 mile per hour winds, no rain since October, and hardly any rain in the last 8 months.
No, it was just it was terrible. Like you mentioned, it was the perfect storm, and it's something that we really braced for. Again, the winds are supposed to die down, but they expect it to pick up again at some point over the weekend. So we're just I'm hoping for the best at this point. But when you just drive around, and my parents live in Calabasas, I have friends in the Palisades. I mean, it's so sad.
So I think your tweet yesterday really did a good job of putting this in perspective. And that is Manhattan is 14,604 acres. The Palisades fire so far, and this was as of yesterday, burned almost 3,000 acres more, which is just, it's one of the most beautiful parts of the entire country, and it's gone, wiped away. So do we have any idea? I know J.J. Redick's home, unfortunately, burned to the ground. Do we have any idea, like the players of these two football organizations, the coaches, how many of those individuals were affected by this?
We don't have that list. I mean, it's like you touched on it. I mean, it is one of the most picturesque parts of not only Southern California, but probably the world to live in. So, we heard about the number of celebrities who live there. I mean, we don't have like a breakdown of all the players and coaches who are there. I had heard, Sean McVay lived around there. I don't know if he maybe moved because their practice facility moved. But yeah, I mean, that's when it really hits home, is that when either like the players or the coaches, they've lost their home. And again, Kawhi does have a house up at the Pacific Palisades. That's why he was the one player who, when the team was in Denver, left because his family was evacuated. And from what I've been told, his house did survive. But yeah, I mean, this is really a tough time.
How about the practice schedule and the horrific air quality and the Rams having to deal with that, and also the Chargers? And we were talking about the comments earlier from Bosa that, okay, now I'm leaving to go play a game. I hope when I come home, my house is still there. What was it like with this hectic week, and if they got anything accomplished in practice?
Yeah, I mean, that was the hardest thing, is that the air quality was so poor, and you could see it in the skies. And then when the Rams were practicing yesterday, the tennis fires broke out. So you saw those clouds of smoke, and the players left, and they didn't talk to the media yesterday as they kind of like ran home to check on their families. So, the both of them had truncated practices, because obviously if you're in Los Angeles, you don't have an indoor practice facility. A slight change to their travel schedule. The Chargers left yesterday to Houston, so they are there right now for their game on Saturday. The Rams are leaving today to Phoenix. Obviously, that home game got moved to Glendale, so they're going to be heading there. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like these players and coaches have so much on their minds, but like, go by the way, go play a playoff game.
How do you handicap it?
It's unfathomable. Yeah.
I know. What do you think? Is it too much to overcome? Is it too much of a distraction and I'm focused on home? Or do you think that the Rams and Chargers rise to the occasion?
I think the Chargers have a better shot. I just like that matchup for them. Once Cincinnati won last week, and the Chargers had the ability to move up to that 5 seed and play Houston, I like that matchup for them. And again, for the Chargers, nothing has changed. Again, they were like always supposed to go out to Houston. For the Rams, I just feel like this is too much for them. I just feel like for the Rams, this was supposed to be a home game. They were supposed to have a practice today, and their schedule just totally got thrown into, the grinder here, where like now they're off to Arizona. They're going to be on the Cardinals team plane. They're going to be practicing at the Cardinals facility. They're going to be playing at the Cardinals stadium. Little fun tidbit, I guess. I don't know. I mean, they are the designated home team, but because they are familiar with the visiting locker room, they will be using the visiting locker room. It's just, I don't know. I just think for the Rams, not that it was going to be this was going to be a tough go to beat the Vikings. I like their chances to win a close game if it was at SoFi, if they were in their own beds, in their own practice facility. I just think it's a little bit too much for them. And so that's the one game that I think will change because of all of this. Follow
the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest here is Arash Markazi, founder and CEO of the Sporting Tribune. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. So as someone who's attended several of these games, both of them are Chargers home games, Rams home games, the common narrative about the Chargers has been, well, they don't have a home field advantage anyway. And I've heard the same thing about the Rams this week as well. Like they have no home field advantage. Is that true? Because when I watch Rams games, it feels like it's a little bit louder when the home team is doing well compared to when the Chargers are at home.
So I think we've touched on this before, but a unique thing happens when they play a weeknight game. And so what I really loved for the Rams, again, prior to all this happening, was when they said this was a Monday night game, I said, oh, that's perfect for the Rams. Weeknight, again, you're not really going to have that opposing team, fly in on a Friday or a Saturday, enjoy the weekend, Sunday, 1 p.m. kick, they hop on the flight back to school, back to work. A Monday night game is very much a local crowd. So really, if it's the Chargers or the Rams, whether it's a Monday night or a Thursday night game, that has been very much a local crowd for them. It's been very much a home crowd. That's not going to be the case now. And I'm not, again, you're going to be, and again, I tweeted this out, like they released the tickets pre-sale to the Rams season ticket holders. I've been told that a lot of those fans are ticket brokers, so a lot of them will be reselling their tickets.
Okay.
Again, there is perhaps no home team, though, to your point. There's no home team better prepared to have a home game that feels like a road game than the Rams. If they were playing the San Francisco 49ers like they did in the conference championship game a couple of years ago, it felt like a road game. Again, the majority of the crowd is rooting for San Francisco. So they're, in a weird way, they are used to this.
When do you think they can play games there? The Lakers play the Spurs there tomorrow. They're supposed to. The last game was canceled. The Kings game was canceled. Do you have any insight there?
It's interesting, guys. I talked to Kevin Demoff, the president of the Rams, and he really kind of shed a new light on this. He said the reason that we moved the game when we did is these people in this community that have been displaced from their homes, they need these hotel rooms. Like we are not in a position to have the Minnesota Vikings and even the Rams before a home game. They will stay at a hotel. So they had 500 hotel rooms booked. They said, no, we got to release that to the public. The other thing is when you have an event, whether it's 20,000 or 60,000 or whatever, you need first responders there, right? You need a certain number of police officers and people there. And they said, we can't have an event where these people are taken away from their jobs right now to work a sporting event. So I've reached out to the Lakers. I've reached out to the Clippers. We have gotten no confirmation from them. But guys, again, a unique thing is supposed to take place on Saturday and on Monday. This is the first season that the Clippers have their own home. So they are both scheduled to play at the same time on Saturday and on Monday. So if both games are conceivably sold out, that's 40,000 people that you're now going to have at a game, and hotel rooms and police officers and people are supposed to work that game. I don't think it's the right call. We have not gotten confirmation that they're going to move it, but they probably should.
Hey, Arash, that was awesome. You've been fantastic on social media all week long, and people need to follow you on Instagram and Twitter at Arash Markazi. Thank you. Be safe, okay?
You guys are the best. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Up next, we'll get into the NFC games, ladder bets, and which team are you going to regret making the case for the most this weekend here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Let's get in some ladder bets for this weekend with player props. Wildcard round, super wildcard round. Paul Charchian had an excellent breakdown yesterday on the show. You can go back and find it on the VSiN Watch app. Listen or watch it there. Download the app on your iPhone or your Android today. And it was on Baker Mayfield, rushing yards to go over 17.5. So if you like it to go over 17.5, how high do you want to go with Baker Mayfield? 30 plus is around 2-1.
50?
50 plus is plus 675.
Yeah.
Can 40, he get to 50?
Yeah, we could. Because I'm going to put Lattimore on Evans. And he's back, and that's a great rivalry. We might see a fight. And then can I contain McMillan? which I like him with ladder too. He's gone over his prop 5 games in a row.
I'm glad you brought up those two guys.
I think he has a touchdown 5 games in a row as well. So if I'm going to put Lattimore on Evans, then I'm looking at McMillan. But then again, if I don't have, he's not there. Oh, he's not there. I can take off. And we saw what he did last week, 3rd and 14. Damn, there's a 17-yard run. And he has that in him that he could have a couple carries for 30 yards. And since we're on that game, how about, so Baker, yes, McMillan. How about Bucky Irving? I'm going against the 2nd worst run defense in the league. That's another one, too. It's supposed to be a high-scoring game. You got a total in the 50s. If Washington can't stop the run, the defense was ugly down the stretch.
How high do you want to go on Bucky Irving? You want to go to 100?
Yes, I do. What's he? He's low 80s, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you brought up McMillan and Evans. Here's the deal. Mike Evans has played 13 career games against Marshawn Lattimore. The average line for what is Mike Evans, without even looking, top 10 most prolific wide receiver of all time, probably in that category. His average line in those 13 games, 2.6 catches, 43.6 yards. Lattimore, there's a reason why these two hate each other, because Evans can't do anything against the guy.
Right. This is why you got him, too, if you're Washington.
Sure.
For the big games like this.
And he's going to be playing. You factor in Jalen McMillan's last 5 games. Here are the stat lines. 5 for 74, touchdown. 5 for 52, 2 touchdowns. 5 for 57, touchdown. 5 for 75, touchdown. 4 for 59, 2 touchdowns. 60 plus pays about plus 112. 70 plus is plus 168. 80 plus is plus 245. If you want to go up to 100 plus, that's like 470, 5-1 neighborhood. Now, the way I do these, I like the ladder bets anyway, is I'll go over the regular number with like a standard bet. And then the ladder bets, to me, I'm not doing the same unit size, right? I'm breaking it down to maybe I win the same amount of money, but the bets are much smaller when I do the ladders overall. Because if they don't hit the ladder, then any of them, you're going to get completely carried out and lose everything. That's the way I personally approach it. But I think McMillan over here makes a lot of sense. I did play over 51.5 today, minus 135.
Yep. I don't mind Daniel's stuff over, too. He is 4-1 to have the most rushing yards in the game. I think he could go off. Could he get 70, 80? I mean, did that hold up? But
if you like Irving to go over, then I say no, don't bet that.
Okay. Got to go Freiermuth with the issues with Pickens and all the drops in the last game. 15 receptions on his last 17 targets. He's been a big weapon for Russ. He could have a big game over the middle. Mims as well. Mims has caught 17 of his last 19 targets. He's a home run hitter. Can I get aggressive with Ertz? Tampa plays the most heavy zone defense in the league. 71% of the time, 34% of the time they play cover 3. So the game plan will be here, and that's why it could be middle of the field, could be open for Daniels, that I'm going up middle of the field and I'm doing quick hitters. And that could be Ertz, and Ertz is in the high 30s.
30s, yeah.
But could he have a 60-yard game and maybe a couple touchdowns? Because it figures that Kingsbury's got to attack with quick hitters and stuff over the middle, and on passes short, underneath 15 yards, Daniel's 72% completion percentage.
Oh, I want to be on Ertz, for sure. Much like an anchorman, Will Ferrell and Christine Applegate. I want to be on you. But I want to be on Ertz in this game. Because the Buccaneers are one of the worst teams in the NFL at guarding tight ends. So that also makes sense. We talked about that on Monday or Tuesday of this week. Here's a lengthy breakdown, if you will, on Puka Nacua. So he had double-digit targets in 4 games this year. His average stat line in those games, 10 catches for 126.5 yards. The first time they played Minnesota, he had 9 targets, but 7 catches for 106 yards. Now, Nakua's presence in that game caught Vikings DC Brian Flores off guard. His quote was, quite honestly, we were a little bit surprised that he was out there. Remember, that's when Nacua came out. Injury report, wait a second here, he's a game-time decision. He looked phenomenal. Surprised he was out there and that he was brought up. And it was a night game on a Thursday, so we found out, let's call it 4 hours before the game. We had seen a little bit of him from the previous year, but not much this year, so there was a little bit of scrambling. We know he's going to be out there now, this time out, and we'll do a better job, or I'll do a better job of making sure our guys are aware of this. So that would make me get off Nacua. Here's the problem, Pro Football Focus. Puka Nacua has been targeted on a league-high 45% of his routes when the defense blitzes. Guess what? The Vikings have the highest blitz rate in the NFL on pass attempts 55% of the time. It's a perfect recipe here. Flores is going to bring the heat.
Yeah.
Let's go to Nakua again. I bet over 7.5 catches, but it's 88.5 is the low water mark you can find at Puka Nakua. Big number. But if he gets 10 targets, odds are he's going to have a very good game. 100 plus is plus 125. You can go up to like 175 plus is plus 1160. I found 150 plus at 7-1. I don't hate it.
Jesus. Easy, Mitch. Okay.
Also, be careful when you're doing same game parlays, because if you do the math and break down each individual bet, you will notice that sportsbooks are giving you no gift whatsoever. When I tried to parlay Puka Nakua 10 catches today and 150 yards, it remained 7-1 at the same book that was offering 7-1 at 150 plus yards. How does that make any sense? Also, I looked at doing a same game parlay tonight with a player in the NBA, and I broke out the VSIN parlay calculator to do the math for me. The calculator spit out higher than 25-1. The book was offering 12-1. Yeah. So most times you're getting horrific odds on this stuff.
Yep. No doubt.
But I think Nakua can have a big one, obviously.
He's tied with Jefferson to have the most receiving yards.
Yeah.
Brown and Collins are up there. Evans 10-1. McConkey 13. I think a big guy's going to cash here. Addison 22. Sutton 20. Pickens 30. How about Cooper? Cooper's back and saying, I've been waiting for a long time to play on a team like this. I'm ready to go. Could Amari Cooper do something?
The answer is no. I want nothing to do with him.
70 yards, 60 yards, can't do it.
He was a total bust since they traded for him.
He's saying all the right things.
And he looks, when you watch the Bills play, got to be honest, a bunch of their other receivers look a lot better than Amari Cooper.
Bateman, 40-1, no Flowers. Or Bateman ladder.
That's is that the whole wild card weekend?
He's 40-1 whole wild card weekend, yeah. I need more than that, but I'm saying how about Bateman ladder, though, too?
Oh, ladder.
Well, no Flowers.
Yeah.
It's a great offense. How many times are you going to throw to the tight ends?
Right.
That's awesome that they have Saturday, Sunday, and then all 6 games included as well, and then you can bet most rushing and receiving in every individual game, too.
Yeah.
Derek Stevens offering you 15% off at 3 incredible properties, Circle Las Vegas. Best shower of all time?
Without hesitation.
Yep. The D Hotel and the Golden Gate. The one that's right there, also the penthouse at the Golden Gate. Oh, that thing, it comes heavy. It's the Commando. That sucker's awesome. How strong that shower is. Whether you're lounging by the pool or enjoying all the excitement Vegas has to offer, save big promo code VSIN15. Don't forget about the suites at Golden Gate. They're phenomenal. Book your 2025 stay now. CircleLasVegas.com. VSIN15. Get 15% off. CircleLasVegas.com. Start your adventure now.
A couple of books on the screen now have Philadelphia laying 5.5 in the game against Green Bay. Other books are still sitting at 4.5. Eagles win this game, don't they?
They better.
Just outright?
I would hope so, yeah. Better team. Green Bay, Fugazi. 0-5 against Minnesota, Detroit, and Philly. Yep. Your best win, your only good win is Houston. Had a field goal at the gun.
I'm concerned for Philadelphia if they can't run the football here.
I think they'll be able to.
I think they'll be able to as well.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but if Green Bay does a good job against the run, Barkley killed them in Brazil. Killed them.
I'm concerned about Love. The health, and now you're down a wide receiver, and that's what if Philadelphia contains Jacobs?
Very doable.
And this guy has come out in some big games and really slow starts. The Minnesota games, the Detroit game at home, but
that first game in Brazil, they were taking shots, and they had Green Bay, and they had guys wide open a lot. I think that game has nothing to do with this one. I think Philadelphia's secondary and their defense, since they put in Cooper DeGene, it's lights out. It's way better.
Yep.
All right, coming up, a Cotton Bowl breakdown and the Natty look-ahead number. I will tell you my biggest concern for this matchup tonight. Next.